Welcome to the morning show. President Bola Tinubu has just declared a nationwide emergency over the alarming surge in terror attacks and kidnappings sweeping Nigeria. From brutal bandit raids in Niger State and deadly assaults in Kebbi and Kwara to kidnappers terrorizing River State, no corner feels safe anymore. Adding to the crisis, the U.S. under President Donald Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, sparking a key congressional hearing on our security woes. The Coalition for the Protection of Democracy, COPDEM, a bold civil society group, has strongly condemned this wave of abductions and demands urgent action from the Nigerian government and security forces. Joining us on Zoom today is Prince Rwang Pam Jr., National Chairman of COPDEM, to unpack this escalating nightmare. Prince Rwang Pam Jr., welcome to the morning show.
Thank you very much, Tochukwu. It's a pleasure to be here. And compliments to the rest of Nigeria and the world.
All right, let me start from this point by asking, what is COPDEM's assessment of the current security meltdown in the country?
Okay, please let me get you right. The current security meltdown. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, COPDEM is the Coalition for the Protection of Democracy. And we have a constitution, and basically, to put it mildly, we want to see good governance. COPDEM stands for equity, justice, and fairness of all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, religion, ethnicity, or whatever form of association or gender. Now, to protect democracy, you need to ensure that you take steps to follow the process and encourage it to be acceptable, to be professional. The institutions that actually are responsible for getting democracy on track have to be seen to be functional. We're looking at INEC, we're looking at security, we're looking at also active citizenship. And majorly, we say democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So the people is the primary focus of every democracy. Nobody can stand in a room or in a bush or somewhere and just say, we the people. It has to be the people. You have to have people to vote. So anything that obstructs so that they'll be encouraged to come out to vote. If you look at the trajectory from the conception of this current democracy, each successive election has had lower voter turnout. And if people don't come out to turn out to vote, what you just have is an assessment of the few people who are able to. That is not complete democracy. So there are numbers to decide who their leaders are. It doesn't matter whether it's APC, PDP, AD. Let it just be that this is the people's choice. Now, insecurity plays a major role, security or insecurity. Once there is that fear, you would notice that so we can't sit back. And the current trend is worse. We have never had it this bad. Right from 2001, we have never had it this bad. When officially Boko Haram kicked off and assumed a violent phase in 2009, it was basically northeastern and condoned around that area. But right now, you know the states: Zamfara, Kebbi, Kaduna, Borno, Yobe, just name them, Benue, Plateau, Niger, Kwara, Kogi, the entire northern architecture, northern population is under attack. That is absolutely not acceptable by any standards. So where we are at, if this is the trend, you may not have people coming out to vote in 2027. So COPDEM is of the opinion that government has to do more. Government has not done what it is supposed to do. That is the position of COPDEM. And we want government to stand up to its responsibilities for every single Nigerian killed, because we have surrendered our sovereignty to the government of the Federation. As a people, willingly or unwillingly, forget it whether Tinubu was elected on the merits of the electorate. Of the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he has the responsibility of ensuring that there is security and there is welfare. That's the first responsibility of every leader, even a village community leader. So those are the things that we want to see done. They are not being done. They are definitely not being done.
All right, COPDEM demands urgent action from the government. Let me remind you that President Tinubu issued an official statement yesterday declaring a nationwide security emergency and recruitment of additional army and police personnel. By implication, the president has authorized additional 20,000 police officers, upgrade of police training facilities. He has also authorized the DSS to recruit more men, and he has also withdrawn officers from VIPs to be redeployed to areas of crisis. Then on the international scene, we have seen the federal government delegation led by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, meet with the U.S. government over procurement of intel and militants of all these activities from the Nigerian government.
Okay, yes, Tochukwu. Those actions are good, but they are, one, grossly insufficient, and two, a little too late. You know, when your house is catching fire, if it's a stove and it's burning the cutting of your house, that is when you take down the cutting and pour water. You don't go about sweeping the house until your ceiling has caught fire, timbers of your roof are on fire. However, it's better late than never. Now, let us put the things in the right order. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inherited this. So we cannot blame him for the foundation of this. When Goodluck Jonathan was on, we know that the current president, Tinubu, was among those who were agitating publicly, bring back our girls, democracy is this, fuel subsidy removal is a sham, right from then. So, but right now he's on the seat. So when he went for the seat, he knows that these problems were already there. So I would expect that he should hit the ground running and taking the appropriate actions. But there has been gross lack of political will, not to castigate any political party, but the regime of the APC from the last 10 years has been abysmal as a person, not as COPDEM. And the government was actually, and still actually is sponsoring the insecurity. They can't run away from it. There are so many things that happened that went wrong that we expected to see government take action. Let me take you a bit way back. During the massacre at Dogonaha, it's not too far from where I was living. We had about 4 hours of continuous gunshots. It was a symphony or cacophony of shots. You can hear them from 3 miles away. The then Governor Jan called the GOC, who was General Gambozo then, and this is what is happening. No action was taken, but they needed orders from Abuja. So what the hell is going on? So that took place continuously. Local vigilantes, people went with their whatever they have. Hunters followed and the rest of them. But the damage was already done. That was where we have the 500 that were massacred. So there were people in government who have the responsibility, and I've been saddled with the responsibility of protecting life and property before now, that they have failed to do so. So what this government needs to do is to put itself in a position where it takes its security seriously. Schools are being closed, but the government is supposed to champion that. Strategically, our military is able to face this section of terrorists. They have the intelligence. Our DSS is doing a wonderful job lately. You would hear before it happens, they say they sent intelligence. They get it. So what's the action that's supposed to be? Apart from the fact that clearly a part of the military is compromised itself, but there are things we need to put in order. There are corridors we need to condone. They know it, and they can do it. So apart from closing schools and employing more people and listing them, you have to train them and let them, get used to the flow of order, chain of command, and the rest of them, and handle what level of equipment or weapons you'd like them to use to work together with the military. How long will it take? It has to be holistic. Far back early this year, COPDEM made the same statement. That was, instead of declaring Rivers a state of emergency, you need to declare our security. It was under threat. Years back, when you hear of these attacks, they will tell you, okay, these very sets of attackers, terrorists, they don't speak the normal Fulani Fulfulde that we are all aware of, and some of our indigents speak that. And the government will say, okay, these were imported mercenaries, for people who have come to join ISWAP, maybe from the North African sub-region, coming down to West Africa, and so on and so forth. So that we have foreign mercenaries infiltrating into the country and causing mayhem, joining with some local ones. What did you do? Nothing practically was done. To make matters worse, there was visa on arrival by our former government, which said, just come and into Nigeria, you'll get visa as long as you're coming for trade. We know the influx of people that were coming. And then terrorism was going on and increasing, and nothing was done. So this government has to actually appreciate the level of the insecurity that we are facing. And you don't deal with it with kids' gloves. The major hazard to insecurity, the major hazard was that theory of deradicalization of repentant Boko Haramists. Who on earth does that? When you want to talk about kinetics, you have to consider the merits of the case. And you don't do that automatically when the victims are in IDP camps, covering themselves with mosquito nets, with sticks and mosquito net, and living. And then you're taking their killers, saying you have deradicalized them. And now you are going to reintegrate them back into the society. What that meant was that I can now go and join Boko Haram, kill as many people as I want, and I'll make a lot of money from kidnappings. Then when I'm about to be caught, I'll come out with my hands, I am repentant. Then I am deradicalized. I'm probably asked whether I want to join the custom, the army, or the navy, and given a job and a livelihood. That is poor. That is terribly poor. So there are some things you need to water down. You want to use non-kinetic, you use it at the end of the war. Anybody that is caught today, the National Assembly has already passed the bill. Is a death sentence for every instance of terrorism. And we're suffering a genocide. So they are not really following the books. There are a lot of things that they need to do first. And then the military should know what to do and do it quietly. Because once it is made public, you have told Boko Haram what you're going to do, you have told ISWAP, you have told the Zafurawas and the Lakurawas and everybody was what you're going to do. You work quietly and bring results. So yes, encourage people by telling them you have taken action. But the actions have come a little too late. Purge your military, because Brigadier General Ubad needed not to die. There was somebody revealing information from the inside. We don't lose our military men like that. Continuously, how many thousands of them have passed away? And then the people killing them, like you bring in a repentant Boko Haram and his own platoon see the same person moving in them as a repentant person, how would they take it? How many of their colleagues have they buried? You are discouraging our military from performing. You don't do that. Keep them somewhere. Get as much information as you can from them. Condone the areas where their bosses are. Squash terrorism. Then you can now consider whether you're going for whatever sentence for their cooperation, but not when it is in the heat of battle. You put them back and they go back and you have more attacks. So yes, it's good action. One, is late. Two, it's not properly coordinated. And three, it's like the government is not fully appreciating the depth of the crisis in the country, and they need to do better. We can't keep losing our children, our military officers, and our citizens.